The Galactic Council's emergency session had been called for the third time that month, and Ambassador Zixthor was losing what little patience his species possessed. On the holographic display, a creature with 6 rows of crystalline teeth and plasma-generating claws demolished what remained of a mining outpost on Kepler 442b. "These are apex cubs," Commander Velra announced, her forearms trembling. "Juvenile specimens of the most dangerous predator species ever catalogued. Their adults can tear through battle cruisers. One cub has already killed 17 trained soldiers." Johnny Depp leaned back in his observation chair aboard the human diplomatic vessel, barely suppressing a yawn. His colleague Angelina was reviewing the footage with her arms crossed, a slight smile playing at her lips. "They want us to help?" Johnny asked. "They're demanding we evacuate and let them sterilize the entire sector," Angelina replied. "Apparently these apex cubs appeared through some dimensional rift, and now there are 12 of them loose across 3 systems." Johnny studied the creature on screen. It was roughly the size of a tiger, covered in bioluminescent scales that shifted between purple and electric blue. Yes, it had too many teeth. Yes, those claws looked like they could cut through titanium. But something in the way it moved, the way it cocked its head at sounds, reminded him of... "They're scared," Johnny said simply. "They've killed 47 beings." Zixthor's translation came through with barely controlled panic. "Because they're terrified," Angelina added, now seeing what Johnny saw. "Look at their body language. They're not hunting. They're defending themselves." The council erupted in objections, but Johnny was already standing. "We'll handle it. Give us 72 hours. "Humans," Commander Velra hissed. "You don't understand. These creatures are babies," Johnny interrupted. "They're babies separated from their parents in a strange place. We've dealt with scared babies before." 20 hours later, Johnny and Angelina stood on the scorched surface of Kepler 442b, completely unarmed except for what Johnny carried in a reinforced backpack. The mining outpost was a ruin of twisted metal and melted plasteel. Somewhere in that wreckage, sensors indicated, was Apex Cub number 7. "Here, baby," Angelina called softly, her voice carrying in the thin atmosphere through her helmet's external speakers. "We're not going to hurt you." A low rumble echoed from the darkness, a sound that made the monitoring council members, viewing the feed, collectively step back from their displays. Johnny crouched down and opened his backpack, pulling out a large piece of synthesized meat laced with mild sedatives. "Hey there, good baby. You must be so scared, huh? So far from home?" 2 eyes appeared in the shadows, each the size of dinner plates, glowing with an inner fire. The rumbling grew louder. The creature's scales began shifting to angry red. "Easy," Johnny murmured, setting the meat down and sliding it forward. "Nobody here's gonna hurt you, my good baby. I promise." The apex cub charged. It was a blur of scales, claws, and fury, and it stopped 3 feet from Johnny, sniffing the air. This close, it was clear how young the creature truly was. Its movements held the uncoordinated energy of youth, its proportions slightly awkward. Angelina slowly knelt beside Johnny. "That's right, sweetheart. We're safe. We're friends." The cub's scales flickered between red and purple, uncertainty and aggression warring in its alien physiology. It sniffed again, this time focusing on the meat. Then, remarkably, it looked directly at Johnny's face through his helmet visor. Johnny did something that made the entire Galactic Council gasp. He removed his helmet. "Johnny," Angelina hissed, though she understood his reasoning. The human faced the apex predator cub with nothing but a gentle smile. "See, just another scared kid. You're okay now, good baby." The cub tilted its massive head, confusion evident in its posture. Slowly, carefully, it approached the meat and began to eat. Its scales gradually shifted to a soft blue. "That's my good baby," Johnny whispered. Over the next 48 hours, Johnny and Angelina performed the same miracle 11 more times. Each cub responded to the same thing: calm voices, patient body language, food offered freely, and the complete absence of fear or aggression. The humans treated each terrifying predator cub like what they truly were: lost children. By the 3rd day, all 12 apex cubs were gathered in a specialized human transport ship, their scales glowing contentedly in shades of blue and green. They piled together in groups, making sounds almost like purring. Johnny sat among them, running his hand along their crystalline scales. "My good babies," he murmured as one rested its massive head on his lap. "We'll find your parents, don't worry." Angelina was coordinating with human xenobiologists to locate the dimensional signature of the cub's home world. A cub nuzzled against her leg, and she absently scratched behind what might have been its ears. There, sweetie. Almost home. The Galactic Council watched in stunned silence as the most feared predators in known space responded to humans like domesticated pets. How? Zixthor finally asked. How did you know? Angelina looked at the camera feed with a slight smile. Because humans spent millennia turning wolves into dogs, wildcats into house cats, and every other creature we met into companions. We see the scared baby before we see the predator. Besides, Johnny added, gently moving a cub off his lap so he could stand. On Earth, we have this saying, there's no such thing as a bad dog, only bad owners. Same applies to babies, all babies from any world. Within a week, human xenobiologists successfully established contact with the adult apex species through the dimensional rift. The reunion was broadcast across the galaxy. Creatures that could, and regularly did, destroy entire fleets approached the human ship with what could only be described as reverence. The cubs bounded toward their parents with happy cries. The largest adult, presumably the pack leader, approached Johnny and Angelina. It lowered its massive head in an unmistakable gesture of gratitude and respect. Take care of your good babies, Johnny said, reaching up to touch the creature's snout. As the Apex family disappeared back through the rift, Ambassador Zixthor turned to Commander Velra. What kind of species looks at the galaxy's most perfect predators and sees babies? Velra watched Johnny and Angelina walking back to their ship, already discussing what to have for dinner. The kind that domesticated themselves first, she said quietly. They conquered their own predatory nature before they ever left their planet. That's why they're so dangerous and so valuable. The council chambers fell silent as they considered this. In the human transport, Johnny was already reviewing reports of another dangerous alien species causing problems in the Andromeda sector. Angelina read over his shoulder and smiled. Sounds like they need us, she said. Sounds like they need someone to see them properly, Johnny corrected. Come on, we've got more good babies to rescue. And humanity continued doing what it did best, finding family in the most unexpected places.